inaction was something that they were willing to do because they didn't want to have to deal with rejection. And so for me, as a salesperson, I will say, I love yeses, I like no's, but I absolutely hate that in-between gray area. I absolutely hate the idea of I'm not sure yet, whatever it may be. And if it's not going to ever happen, that's great. But let's kick that out, early.
Right.
Let's not have to, because if the majority of people are calling you saying, hey, I just kind of have an idea, like what you come out to my house, you're going to give me the pricing and that kind of stuff. Okay, well that's one thing. Oh, well, I kind of want to see how you guys work and what's your guys' process, like what it kind of looks like, or I know contractors do everything differently. Okay, that's another thing. Oh, I just want to. I'm not really sure of everything that goes on with this project because I don't really know all the different things. It's education. Mm-hmm. So if you can do process, price, education, and that stuff is happening well before you talk to that person, then now this person knows your process, price, and education about it. Then it's like, at this point, we're starting at a better playing field. Right. I'm now looking at the 2 girls that think Chris is kind of cute.
Right.
Versus having to talk to the 10 women who could possibly find these good looks, attractive.
Yeah, because you don't want to walk up and then take your hat off and they see what's going on under the hat.
Hey guys, I'm balding. So if there's any Rogaine guys out there looking for a sponsored athlete, let me know.
Yeah. So it just looks like a patch of grass that when your dog goes out and pees throughout the yard, it just kind of dies in little spots.
Kevin Durant make this popular.
Yeah. So I call Chris LeBron's forehead sometimes. No, but realistically, it's like you're whittling down the amount of people that are going to say no because we can only take so much rejection. And I talk to some small business owners, not in the contracting space, but in other spaces. And when they're first starting out, they say stuff like, well, I'm not afraid of rejection. Yeah, I'll get rejected all day long. That's cool with me. And I'm like, okay, great. What have you ever gotten rejected on before? And they're like, oh, I've never done it before. I'm like, okay.
But it takes a certain person to be a contractor, right? It takes a certain person to be a business owner.
Correct.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but most people, and I imagine, go into business because they want that independence. They want to be able to be not necessarily the top dog, but they want to be able to have the independence. So
yeah, the freedom aspect of you want to be able to do what you want to do, not have anybody tell you what to do. Yeah, I mean it's really that aspect. So when you and I talk. And you'll be like, hey, you should do this. I'm like, Chris. And you're like, okay, here's what I would do if I was in your shoes. So it's just it's a reframe. And I know what you're getting at of this, you're telling me essentially what to do. But I don't personally like when there's this unsolicited advice. And sometimes it's cool. But it's
I give great unsolicited advice.
Yeah, but it's just hey, here's what you should do. And I'm like, okay, if you really think that, go start your own company.
Yeah.
And and I have to catch myself because sometimes that's not, the way to go, but this is essentially what happens. That mindset, when you get it, when a client calls you up that doesn't want to abide by your rules or your process, you're this. And the thing is, if you do not have your stuff together, you're not unique in any way, your product is just okay, this and that, then the power is in the hands of the homeowner.
Yeah, especially if you don't have it defined. If you don't have it defined of why you're unique. What did we see today on the road? That was
Benjamin Franklin Plumbing.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. What's their sales proposition? What's their?
What is unique about Ben Franklin is that it is they will pay you I saw this 5 years ago. Actually looked like they're on their website. It was they'll pay you $5 for every minute that they're late up to a half an hour. So potentially $150. So now what they've done is they've positioned themselves as the leader in this area. So now, if we want to work with them because they, all in all, are going to be a better fit, then we have to play by their rules. Now, it's hard to make rules when you're not the king.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to listen to you. But in this case, it seems like they're kind of the king, especially if you value somebody being on time. Because we've all dealt with the DirecTVs and the, oh yeah, I'll be there between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Can you be available? And it's are you serious?
Let's talk about the people who are not king right now. What can they do? And what can they do if they're not king right now?
You at least understand up front how because whether you know it or not, you have a process. Just like you have a company culture, whether it's a good one or a bad one, you have a process for everything. And the more that you can get your information of how you do stuff out there and effectively let people know what it's like to work with you, that is going to stop people that do not want to work with people like you from even calling, which will protect your confidence in yourself, your business, and your value. So that's what I would do is the first step, though, is understand what it's like to work with you, because that is going to be what lets people know either A, we're a good fit for you, or B, we're not a good fit for you.
Yeah. And so if people know about your process and they say, okay, well, I don't like the way this guy does stuff, so I'm not going to give him a call. That's good on you.
Yeah.
Because now you don't have to question your process. You don't have to question if you have a good process or not. Because bad people or bad, non-buyers, right? People who are not a good fit for you don't have any space in your business, but they don't have any space in your bandwidth.
Like the boundaries just aren't there where they're going to push your boundaries. And to be candid, like maybe your process does suck and people don't want it, but for the most part, as long as like if you had your service validated, meaning people have hired you for certain things before, then at least somebody will hire you, which means that if one person is willing, other people are probably willing to as well. So the more that you can just kind of streamline everything, but let it be known that this is how we work, and if you don't want that, like that's totally cool. Now here's the problem though, and this is what we'll get, if you're listening to this, we'll probably talk way more about this on the Facebook Live in our group. So if you want access to that, more access to Chris and I, and actually like talk about this stuff, make sure you go on Facebook. It's Common Sense Contracting. We've already done one, and by the time this thing comes out, probably 2 webinars on this, but more in depth, more of the how-tos and stuff like that. So make sure you guys, go on Facebook, check that out.
Definitely, because you can be able to now ask the questions.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
How do we do it? But most people, they do it wrong, where it almost comes off. I saw somebody one time. They had on their website. They're like, it was just a page that said like, here is what we don't like. Here's how you know you're not a good fit for us. 1, you're picky. 2, it's just, and they literally just like, it just sounded so. It wasn't even like done like in a nice, hey, like we work with people that are more into value than, getting the cheapest price. It wasn't that. It was like, if you're cheap, we're not working with you. If you're this, we're not working. And I was just like, who is going to work with you at this point? Because you've literally just like offended everybody, or you made it seem so like
exclusive that no one can be
like
part
this
of
is
it.
how we do things. And if you deviate a single, like, because we have a process here. It, like what you said, it's what we do is it's not necessarily cookie cutter, but it is a system, and it's very structured, and it's pretty, we don't reinvent the wheel every time, which is what most contractors do. But it's not like, hey, you have to do 100% of everything our exact way, regardless of what's going on in your world. And that's how, when I read this page, it made me feel, and I would have never reached out to them, because I was like, these people just don't even sound like friendly people.
Yeah, like there's a fine line between having a process and inviting someone to follow your process than to say, hey, these are the stringent rules, and you're never going to make it.
Yeah.
That's
like it was tough, and I was just like, man, like when I was reading, I was like, this just seems like they've been beat down so many times that they're now taking it out on the masses, saying, don't even bother calling us if this, and this is not like what you're going to, like, it was just so much.